Hi guys, welcome back to part 2 of this video series where today we will be making air dry clay puppets. And so what you will need for this activity is homemade air dry clay. If you have other types of clay, that's totally fine too. Some popsicle sticks, or these are I think cake pop sticks, and those will work just as fine. But if you have popsicle sticks that are almost as thick like tongue depressors, that will also work just as well. And then also a cookie pan to put our clay puppets on. So I'm going to show you guys one way that I'm going to make clay puppets, but I do want to just start off by saying that you can make clay puppets kind of any way you want to. You can make them so that they sit on your fingers, you can make them so that they go on sticks, you can make them so they're a 3D form, so they just kind of sit there on their own. It's totally up to you, but today I'm going to show you guys how to make them to go on sticks so that you can hold on to them. If you wanted to create a backdrop for your clay puppets, you totally could. So yeah, I'm going to start off by showing you guys how to make a fish. I love things in the ocean, and I love the ocean in general, and I'm very much missing the ocean right now, being in quarantine, so I thought this would be a great place to start. So I'm going to make a bluefish. So I'm going to take about a medium-sized ball of clay. Might take out a little bit more. And set that off to the side. And I'm just going to start off by squeezing this ball together to get it to become one cohesive form. And try and seal those cracks in a little bit. Because if we look closely, we can see how the clay is kind of splitting from each other right there. And we kind of don't want that. So by rolling it together and smushing it down a bit, we'll adhere those two pieces together. And it doesn't have to be perfect. And then the next step I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and start to flatten that piece of clay with the palm of my hand on the counter. Again, you can use a piece of parchment paper if you're worried about making a mess. Keep flattening it until you get it to about like a 1/2 inch thick. Even an inch is good too. And I think I kind of like how thick this is looking right now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to form the shape of my fish. So if we can all put on our imagination caps and think about what a fish looks like. The head of the fish is kind of round, and then its body kind of becomes a little bit narrow at the end, and then it has a big tail. So I'm going to try and make my fish have a nice round face and head shape. And then I want to make that body a little bit more narrow. So I'm just using my fingers to kind of pinch the sides and then flattening the surface back down again. It's kind of up to you, whatever way you can get the best shape. You could use a rolling pin, you could kind of do whatever. I think we're almost there. I'll show you guys once I get it to the spot that I like it at. And I'm showing you guys how to do a fish, but you can definitely do whatever kind of animal you would like. It doesn't have to be an animal. Clay puppets could be fantasy dragon eggs. It could be flowers. It could be things that you would find in the sky or things that you would find on the ground. It's really up to you. Maybe start by thinking about something that you're interested by or something that you really like. That's how I started. I really like fish. So. Alright, so I think it's getting close to a shape where I am pretty happy with it. So I'll flip it around and show you guys. So see how this part is a little bit round and then it kind of tapers off into a more narrow shape at the end for the tail. And so I'm going to go ahead and grab some of the other balls of clay that I made yesterday. And so I have a purple one, I have a green one that kind of got stuck with some other colors, and then I have a pink one too. And so what I'm going to do is I think I want my fish to have a green tail. So I'm going to section off a little round small ball of green clay and kind of roll it between my palms. And again, we're going to do that flattening technique. So I'm going to flatten it with the palm of my hand to get it flat. And then I'm going to start to shape it in the shape of a fishtail. And that can be tricky because every kind of fish has a different kind of tail. But the fish I made earlier, and I'll show you, has a tail that kind of, if you flip it this way, it almost kind of looks like it has ears. But it has like two pointy edges that are going out in two different directions. So I'm going to try and recreate that again on this new tail. So I'm going to kind of start to pinch in the middle part of the clay to kind of get almost like a banana shape. And then I'm going to start to pinch out those wing sides so they become nice and pointy and very fishtail-like. And this takes a little bit to kind of get your tail to the point where you want it to be. And again, every fish looks differently, every tail is going to look different, so use whatever colors you got. It doesn't have to be a fish. You could do a ladybug, a butterfly, a dinosaur, an alligator, a spider. You could do whatever. And it doesn't have to be an animal either. We're going to keep going. We're getting close. Almost. So I'm kind of getting there. I kind of want it to be a little bit more refined, so I'm going to keep working on mine. But if you get to a point where you're like, I really like where my fishtail is, go ahead. I'm going to fix it while it's on my fish. And place it onto your fish, right on top of that like edge piece right here. Just go ahead and place it on. And kind of smush it down so it adheres well to the body part of your fish. And this might require just shaping your body shape of the fish a little bit better too. Anytime you work with clay and you're adhering like one piece of clay to the other, you're gonna have to go back and refine things and fix things back up a little bit. It just kind of takes time and patience, so no worries. Gonna flatten my fish back down just a little bit. Okay. So now I've got the tail of my fish onto the rest of my fish, like so. See, mine's not perfect either. It's a little wavy, a little wonky, totally fine. Again, no fish is perfect. No clay puppet is gonna be perfect. So I'm really happy with that. Now I'm gonna go back in with some other colors of clay, and I'm gonna make some stripes on my fish, maybe a little smile, little mouth, and an eye as well. Feel free to add whatever you would like to your fish. It can have more fins, it can have more than one tail. It's totally up to you. Go crazy. So I'm gonna put some pink stripes on my fish. And so I'm just rolling out really tiny balls of clay. We're gonna use our fingers to make a little log. Oh, that one kind of broke a bit. It's okay, we can just re-roll it. And I'm gonna section a little bit off, and then I'm gonna put it onto my fish, and I'm gonna bend it a little bit so it looks a little wavy. Get a cool little pattern in there. So it kind of looks something like that. I'm gonna just keep doing that all the way down, and then I'll move on to the other parts of the fish. So I went ahead and I placed all the stripes on my fish. I even kind of sectioned off, you know, the front of the fish and the back of the fish. feel free to do whatever. If you want to continue your stripes onto your tail, that would be amazing as well. And now I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna give my fish a little eye and a little mouth as well. And so I'm gonna use some of the purple clay that I have and just, again, pinch off just a really small portion, roll it in between my hands, and then flatten it between my fingers to get it into a nice little flat eye shape. And once you get your eyeball to the shape and size that you want it, go ahead and just push it down onto the surface of your fish. It may require just a little bit of some extra force to make sure that it's on there. We'll go over what to do if some things start to fall off your fish as it's drying. It's really not a big deal, but we'll go over that at the end of the video. And so there's my fish eye. I'm trying to make sure you guys can see that. There we go. Now it needs a mouth. So again, I'm going to pinch off just a little bit of clay and roll it with my fingers back and forth to get just like a little log shape. I'm going to pinch off a little bit so it's not too big of a mouth. And then I'm going to curl it up so it looks like my fish is smiling. And again, push it down to make a little smile for my fish, just like that. And so when you guys are done with whatever clay puppet you choose to make, go ahead and put that clay puppet onto that baking sheet that I asked you guys to grab out. Great place for things just to dry, because typically air dry clay, even though we really want to play with it really, really bad right away, it's super delicate when it's still wet, and so that's when things are more prone to falling off. So make sure that whatever clay puppet creation that you're making dries for at least a full 12 hours before playing it. Take like 2 lollipop sticks or a popsicle stick and glue it to the back of your clay puppet creation. So I'll try and hold it up like what that would look like. So you would kind of angle the sticks like this, kind of like you're creating a tent. I would scoot them together a little bit closer. And then you would take your clay puppet creation and just glue it to the back. I would do this step once your clay puppet has fully dried and it's no longer wet and kind of flimsy. That way the glue will adhere better to the sticks, and the sticks and the glue will adhere better to the clay. But that's a personal choice. You don't have to glue it to sticks if you don't want to. You can leave them just as they are. You could create a backdrop for your clay puppets. It's totally up to you. This is kind of where like your imagination sets in and you can just go wild. I think it would be fun to create a backdrop for sure, and maybe put on a little puppet show. That would be a lot of fun and super cute to do. In terms of drying, so as I said, I would wait a full 12 hours before doing anything else with your clay puppet. You might notice that the clay is starting to crack, or maybe things are not on as well as you thought they were, and that's okay. It's kind of just how clay is. It is just a fragile medium to work with, and so essentially when you're letting clay dry, you're letting the air kind of take out all the moisture from the clay, and so there are going to be spots where it cracks, and that's fine. I understand it can be definitely like heartbreaking to some people, but as long as it's not falling off or anything's breaking, you're okay. If you do notice that like some things you placed onto your clay puppet are starting to fall off, you can go back in with a little bit of glue. Just make sure that it's dry enough that things will stick, and let that dry again for another like hour or two. But other than that, that's kind of all the scoop on how to make air dry clay puppets. So thanks again for joining me on this fun little video about clay puppets, and I hope you guys enjoy it.